I've always been interested in using technology for learning, so that interplay between technology and learning. In a prior role, and this was in 2006, I was one of the first academics to respond to calls to put courses online. So I've had that experience and exposure prior to lockdown. So I've been able to use those skills during lockdown to create learning environments online. So I've had three goals when I envisioned what an online course would look like. The first one was around student engagement. So I wanted students to engage in their learning experiences. So lockdown was going to be pretty isolating, and I didn't want to further isolate students by having an online course that had no engagement. So engagement was a key goal of mine. The second thing that I wanted to do in my online courses was to ensure that it was easy to navigate. I had planned to use a number of technologies, so I wanted this to integrate seamlessly and for students to be able to navigate their way through that online course easily. And lastly, I wanted the students to have fun. I wanted to have fun myself, and I wanted it to be a fun learning experience. So I went back to the drawing board. It was time to re-envision what the course was going to look like. So what I came up with was a template, and this template helped me to structure what this online course would look like. And at the heart of this template were two pedagogical principles. And the first one was social constructivism, which meant that learning was going to be collaborative, and that was a principle that I wanted to build into my online course. The second was constructive alignment, where the goals, the activities, the assessments, and the resources would all align. What I noticed as well over my years of academic practice was that students responded to visual elements. So I wanted to have that visual design as part of that online course. So when they open it up, it's more visual, and all of the elements weren't as wordy. So what I did was I went back to the resources that I was using. So in a traditional face-to-face classroom, there would be lectures. So of course, in an online environment, these needed to be replaced. And what I thought about doing was creating short but engaging videos. And I used a couple of different techniques to do this. So some of these were voiceover presentations, but others were more engaging animated presentations. And then, as I said, I wanted to encompass a broad range of technologies that would make this online experience for the students engaging. So again, it was that interplay between technologies and that seamless integration between the technologies. And also, I wanted the students to have fun. So that was a technique, a principle that I took across into the design element of it. And I wanted them to engage with each other. If they were having fun, they were forming a community of learners, which was important to me. The greatest challenge for me was how would the students respond? What would be the level of resources they have to engage with an online learning environment? Would they have a device? Would it be a shared device within a family? Would they have stable internet connections? And as I went along, I found that these weren't as major challenges as I thought. The other challenge was that engagement element. I had planned to use Zoom, and I wanted students to communicate or interact with each other and myself, but I also wanted them to have their videos on, so it creates that engagement. If you're staring at a blank screen, you're less likely to engage. So that was a consideration. That was, were they going to be opening up their videos? Some students may not feel comfortable having their private spaces as part of that classroom space. So those were challenges that I had thought about when I was designing this. The greatest success, that's easy. The greatest success was the high levels of engagement. Students were genuinely and actively engaging in that online learning space. You know, we had, when I compared it to a traditional classroom setting, there was high levels of engagement. Students were talking to each other, they were talking to me, they were sharing through Zoom the work that they've already undertaken, they were getting feedback on it. And I knew they were watching those videos and those resources because they were talking about those concepts, and I could see it in their answers, in the activities, in the assessment. So that engagement, that is the biggest success, you know, and it's highly gratifying for an academic to have that engagement. You know, it makes our jobs a lot more engaging, a lot more fun. 2020 has been an interesting year. It's been, there's been lots of challenges and there's been lots of rewards as an educator. I've always been interested in the interplay between technology and learning. So 2020 gave me an opportunity to go back to that and kind of see how I can develop these technology enhanced learning environments that will facilitate learning. It also gave me an opportunity to step back and to look at my course and then re-envision it to facilitate that learning process. So to go back to the roots of it, to see how it all aligns up and meets the learning outcomes, to see what else I could do, how I could create these technology enhanced learning environments. But what 2020 has really taught me is that, you know, we should continually engage in a process of redeveloping our learning, our courses. So redevelop those resources. It's always good to step back and see, you know, how they meet the learning outcomes of the students and what else we could be doing. And I think that's a great space to be in, and it's and AUT is a very creative and innovative university, and we're in that space, so, you know, it's great to be there.